A large field, a 4-mile track, and one of the most amazing racing facilities that any driver could hope to drive on. It is time to go racing once again in the TC America category of the GT World Challenge America SRO Motorsports America Championships. Hi, everybody. Greg Creamer along with Calvin Fish and Ryan Marine here at Road America, America's National Park of Speed. And those are spectators, folks. You bet. This is our first race since we resumed after the 4-month shutdown that we have had spectators at. It's a limited capacity with some certain regulations nonetheless. We've got a crowd here, and it's changed the dynamic and the energy just a little bit. One thing that hasn't changed too much is how well Tyler MAXSON is doing in the series as he continues to run strongly. But let's get a good look at this racing facility, Cal. For a lot of drivers, it's bucket list. For those that have been here, it's magical.
Very special place, Greg. Road America, just over 4 miles. Very challenging. Some high-speed sections, as you can see on the run down into Turn 1, down to Turn 5, and that long bending straightaway down towards Canada Corner. First sector is all about speed. You have to get through Turns 1 and 2, but big, long brake zones, certainly play into the lap time as well. And then that middle sector, lots of really demanding corners there. So that puts a premium on the handling of the race car. And then you can see as you finish off with the uphill climb up the front straightaway. So beautiful place. Racetrack in terms of its configuration has not changed over the years, but boy, oh boy, every year you turn up and come through the gates here, they continue to improve the facility for the fans and for the racers and the competitors with the paddock spaces and the concession stands and everything. Just looks first class.
It does indeed. This is a place of a huge terminal velocity and maximum commitment to get through it. 3 different classes running. The TCR category, here's your TCA field, or your TC field, and Toby Grahovic in the classic BMW has that car on the pole. As we take a look at, this was the car, number 55 of Lewis Jr., who was really, really quick yesterday, had an issue, but up until that happened, he looked like he could be scrapping. But I think one of the big stories is the lap that Scott Smithson in the DXDT Racing TCR number 17, the Honda Civic Type R, turned in that race, Cal, was almost 2 seconds quicker than most of the field. If he can lead into Turn 1, this could be a whole different dynamic.
Yeah, I think Tyler MAXSON, who went 9 for 9 yesterday, 9 consecutive victories this season, I think he may have had that result maybe challenged a little bit if it wasn't for that late caution where we finished under caution to finish that race. But Smithson's pace is certainly dynamic. I'm not sure if Tyler's been able to do anything with that Hyundai and find some speed overnight, but that's a massive deficit to try and defend from around this racetrack here today.
Yes, and there's a look at James Clay inside the Bimmer World BMW, the Pork Snacks and Optima battery entry, and he will be starting, oddly enough, even with his run yesterday, back in the 4th spot. But the bigger story is that he and Schwartz, that swing, as that championship is about as close as it gets.
Yeah, Schwartz had a 7-point lead coming into yesterday's event, but with Clay getting the victory and Johan finishing 3rd, that means that there's a 3-point deficit now with Clay having the lead. So it's a seesaw battle, and races are pretty much dominated in touring car by BMWs who dominate the field, and unfortunately Joseph Federer had that incident yesterday and will not see action here today.
Yeah, I got it, had a little problem over in the kink, and obviously not going to be able to be here today, but you take a look at some of the other players in the field here, and it's a great turnout, certainly. That's just a look at Rob Sloniker, and 3 Auto Technique machines out there. Tom Capizzi actually in one of the practice sessions had a spin when a hub broke, ended up in the middle of the track. His other 2 teammates were coming at him side by side. They had to split him to avoid him. And talking to Tom, he said in the race yesterday, he said, I was feeling pretty good. I didn't qualify well in the wet, but I was feeling good. And he said, had some overheating problems in that BMW, so some issues there. And there is a look at the 04, CJ Moses. He really, I think he really likes running this TCR platform.
Yeah, he's really starting to find his form and find his feet with it. He felt that yesterday's race with the restarts and the TCA cars being mixed in with the TCR cars hurt his battle towards the end, but he's ready to regroup here today. Nice thing with these triple header weekends is you can really think about what happened in the first race and try and put it straight here today. Beautiful conditions, just perfect low 70s ambient, track's in great shape. Should put on a great race here today. And the big question mark is, can Tyler MAXSON go 10 straight?
Yes.
He'll start on the front row, but Smithson has tremendous pace to show here.
Absolutely. Here's a look, getting the signal that they feel about ready to roll off for their lone formation lap, and then we go racing. And checking in with the Hart Motorsports team and Johan Schwartz, Johan said that the thing today, tire management, and then you got to be concerned with tire management, and then thirdly, make sure you're watching that tire management. That's really been his focus here. Look at the car that just moved off there on the left, that white Subaru. That's PJ Gronke, who is on pole. And he has had some great runs, a former TCB champion. This year has not been a friendly one in terms of results for him. He had a podium in the opening round Dakota, and then has just hit a real rough streak. Then had to miss Sonoma because of he's Canadian and some of the travel issues, but he was not about to miss here. He's shown up, and he was flying in that race, set the fastest lap, and starts on pole after a second place finish. So great story for him. As we take a look at the starting lineup, you see Olivia Askew, we need to mention her. Great run in that race yesterday and a great lap that puts her inside a row 2, third starting spot. Yeah, very impressive young lady. Does a great job behind the wheel. The team were testing here for a couple of days last month. Brian Sellers there coaching, and he's here on site at the game this weekend. So both of the DXDT Hondas shown tremendous pace and could spring a bit of a surprise here today. Certainly, I think if Tyler Maxson has been vulnerable at all this year, he's certainly going to be here today. Absolutely. And you take a look at the rest of the field. Here's that TC battle the touring car, and they work their way down into turn 5. Then we go back. We're going to go back into the TCA category. We want to get down and meet up with Ryan Marine. Ryan, we got 2 minis that are starting well, 3rd and 4th, but a couple more right at the back of the pack. What's the word?
Well, just one starting at the back of the pack, and that is the big story. That will be Mark Pombo, and he won't be driving his customary number 61 Mini, and that's because of damage sustained in a crash yesterday. That damage was too extensive to repair here at the racetrack. In fact, it might be too serious to repair at all. They'll have to wait till they get back to the shop in Brownsburg, Indiana to totally figure that out. But with Mark in the middle of the championship hunt in TCA, in stepped his friend and teammate Derek Jones, who is back with the team for the first time in a couple of years here this weekend. Derek and Mark, good friends, and Derek, despite a good run yesterday, offered up his car, the number 63, to Mark Pombo in order for him to chase that championship. And with that donation, effectively, that gives Mark that chance, so he'll be starting shotgun on the field. A lot of work in front of him, but his championship hopes remain alive thanks to a friend and teammate.
Absolutely, and we alluded to, we thought that they were good friends. We thought Derek might just do that, and has indeed followed through. There's a look at PJ Gronke in that Tech Sport Subaru, and just great for a car to show up. It's clearly the car is as quick as PJ is, and that's a nice sign, but liability's there, and he had a great run yesterday. Behind him is Kevin Boehm coming off their first win of the season, and they just get stronger and stronger and stronger in that AWS CrowdStrike car as well, and pretty good story there to be sure. Another big question mark in the TCA field is our championship leader, Tyler Gonzalez, came in with a massive 19-point gap, but had technical issues yesterday, so the man who's had 4 wins on the year, he's trying to bounce back here today as well. We are there, lights out on the Acura NSX, the official safety vehicle of SRO Motorsports America. Heads into pit lane, and you can see the 3 classes. We're all told, give yourself nice gaps between the class before, in front of you and or behind you. And they're doing that very nicely. So leading the field up, Scott Smithson. And will he be able to lead down into turn 1? Maxson. Oh, Smithson timed it well. He gets a little bit of a jump. And once again, here comes the Alfa Giulietta. A huge run by Tim Lewis. He might be able to, well, and Olivia Askew down to the inside, Cal. Meanwhile, the TC field, look at that. 3 abreast heading down into turn 1. Around the outside of Grahovic, side by side as they head down towards the brake zone. But meanwhile, Smithson has the lead. Olivia Askew going side by side with our championship leader. Tyler Maxson just makes the outside work. I wonder, he ran a little bit wide at the exit, and Olivia may have had a little bit better run. See what happens here, but here's Smithson. Look at Gonzalez hunting, trying to figure out a way through. Yeah, Maxson having to get really defensive here on the run down. The Marine sweep down into the turn 5 braking zone. Olivia Askew really tight there. Great racing here, side by side. Oh, and she just loses the rear end and gets hit by CJ Moses. Oh, what a shame. Here come the touring cars just swooping through. Fortunately, she got knocked over to the left side of the track as they track through gently on the right. Oh, and somebody's at the 31 of Schwartz, putting all of his drifting experience to work to save that one, Cal.
Well, they're all over the place. Cars really sliding around on relatively cold tires.
Trapped up behind here, CJ Moses in a wounded TCR car. Look at Clay trying to squeeze through.
Yeah, he had the lead momentarily there, and then that TCR car effectively became a bit of a pick as they battle out, searching for some real estate to work with as they head into the carousel.
Did you see Clay just shoehorn himself between CJ and I think it was Bryson Liu? He just said, I'm going to create an opening if you don't give me one.
That was a wild first lap.
Oh, wasn't it? And due to the incident down by Olivia Askew, the back end just snuck around on her a little bit. And I think everything would have been fine, except there was just nowhere for CJ to go. Look at this, they're still racing here.
Yeah, I'm not sure anyone's aware of what's the fact is we're full course yellow right now. They continue to race out of Canada.
I think they finally just got the memo.
Yes. I don't know what's going on with Tyler's car. He just looks really vulnerable on that initial start. He was just swallowed up by the whole pack. Let's take another look at it.
Olivia gets a run. There's Lewis.
Lewis just blows by him on the outside. And the TC snarling pack turn one, 3 wide there for the second batch.
That was a great start by Bryson Liu, wasn't it? To hang on. I mean, he had qualified second, but he had that group just drilling after him. He hung into it here.
You see the run down towards turn 5, and just MAXSON looks really vulnerable as you see Gonzalez putting the pressure on. Side by side there, and Olivia just asks a little bit too much from the rear end of the car and just gets tagged by CJ Moses.
Yep.
Have to think there's some damage to that left rear corner on Olivia's car.
Ooh, Schwartz, he suddenly swerved right. I think he was surprised by maybe how quick Bryson Liu braked.
Chance for us all to catch our breath here, Greg.
Holy cow. Yeah, and where did that, he's back in 8th in class right now.
Look at the TCA field.
Yeah.
PJ Gronke is well down the field. I'm not sure what happened to him on that opening lap, whether he got involved in some of that schmozzle that occurred in the TC ranks.
Yeah, so Boehm now finds himself up in the lead in the number 9 AWS CrowdStrike entry. While we're under caution here, just want to give some serious credit to that team for something they're very involved with Operation Motorsport, and they have 2 vets that are joining him in the pit lane for Operation Motorsports. One is Staff Sergeant Chad Failing, and another is Staff Sergeant William Babineau. And Sergeant Failing served for more than 10 years on active duty, 2 combat tours, and he assisted this team, Boehm and his HPD group, as mechanic and team assistant in both Circuit of the Americas and VIR. This is Sergeant Babineau's first time with the Boehm team, and he's done some stints in Iraq and Bahrain. So this is really cool what they're doing, and it's all about the veterans that are traumatized or have been wounded or whatever, trying to get them back on course and give them something to really focus on and an opportunity in motorsports. And so number 5, Roy Block, he's been so impressive this year, but they've just been chasing something. They weren't running great in yesterday's race either, Ryan?
That's true. Roy Block, unfortunately, unable to take the start here. He came down the pit lane right as the green flag was displayed, evidently an intercooler issue on that car. So they've been hard at work ever since the start of this race effectively on that Alpha. One other note, you were wondering what might have happened with PJ Gronke at the start, and talking to the team there at Tech Sport, they said no problems with the car. He just was caught out of position a little bit by some of the incidents that happened in front of them, and that opened up an opportunity for some of the other cars in the class to make a charge there. But PJ is brimming with confidence, there's no doubt about it. When I talked to him after the race yesterday when he finished second, he said, look out for us, we've got a good car, and we're going to be going to the front.
Yeah, I think missing Sonoma was sort of like what it did with Tony Gaples. It just lit a already intensely burning fuse with both those guys, and the car is really proving to be well suited to this track. So now he gets to go after it, and he made up some ground in that race yesterday. It's not like he wasn't working through traffic.
No, he's got a lot more work to do, though.
True.
You know, starting from the pole, he's been shuffled back here a little bit. Gonzalez, our championship leader, has had a good start. He's moved up to the 4th position, so that's promising for him after some technical issues yesterday. But Boehm looking for 2 straight, looking very strong in that Honda Civic here this weekend.
So right now in that TCA class, we talked about Boehm leadings, but then Clay Williams, who made his debut, a young teenager from the West Coast small bore Formula car ranks, made his debut. He's been a longtime friend of Tomas Mejia, who runs one of those minis and has for a couple of years now. And in the karting ranks, they've known each other, good friends, and that was the connection. He ended up in one of these minis for the JCW team, ended up with a podium at Sonoma his first weekend there, so they were interested in having him come back. And Tyler Gonzalez, it looked like Pombo may have been heading toward pit lane. Tyler Gonzalez, our points leader, coming in. He's in a fight this weekend.
He is trying to do some damage control here after a struggle yesterday.
I think that was Pombo, was the more orange-hued car, which I think is the one that they're over. And again, nice to be able to see Caleb Bacon being competitive this weekend. He was really good in the first race at Circuit of the Americas. There were some technical problems, and they just haven't been able to find that form. But he had a good run yesterday, sits 6th today in the Signal Hyundai. Matt Forbish, who is his teammate, is the creator of Signal. It's a business management software for franchising. He describes it as it's like a stoplight for your business to tell if the business is going in the right direction or not. And they're proudly displaying that on both of those CB racing cars.
Everyone here just trying to keep the tires clean. It's not so much warming them up. You do that more with accelerating against the brake pedal a little bit, but just trying to keep the tires clean. Marbles will develop a little bit offline, and almost like a snowball. You just got to be careful that doesn't catch you out and go back to green flag, and you don't have the grip there that you're looking for.
Here's another look at why we're under this caution. Olivia Askew and that red and white Honda back end just came around on her, and there was CJ nowhere to go.
Yeah, it was a little surprising there because he positioned the car really nicely. He was handling the pressure from MAXSON and the whole dynamic going into that corner. Then just suddenly the rear got light on there.
Yeah, and right there, I was just watching that one again. Johan had a huge run coming up the hill. Bryson Lou braked early, and Johan had to literally swerve right to not hit him, and then, as I said, put that drifting experience to work to save it around the outside of 6.
Yeah, it's tough not to just go straight off the road there, so Johan did a really nice job of manhandling it back onto the circuit, but lost a few positions. So down in 8th position, you know he's going to be on the attack. Championship leader coming in, did not have the best of days, even though he finished on the podium ultimately yesterday. Made that little mistake that we very rarely see him make down in turn 5, and to me that's just an indicator that the car was not working as well as he wanted it to and was having to push beyond its limits yesterday.
Yeah, he told us that the Hard Motorsports crew, Adam, Brent, Jacob, and Dan, worked a lot last night on dialing this car up just a little bit and trying to improve that setup just a while as well. And Johan said he's got family that are tuning in live all the way from his native Denmark to North Carolina, so that's pretty cool. Let's check into the pits and Ryan.
Well, the story of Mark Pombo has taken another turn, specifically a hard right turn back to the paddock. Evidently a fuel pressure issue on that Mini. The team believes they know what the source of the issue is. They're going to try and enact some repairs very quickly and get Mark back out, because remember, as we've talked about a couple of times, he is fighting for a championship in TCA.
Yeah, tough weekend. The big accident yesterday scored no points, and potentially another 0-point score today. It's going to be tough to recover from.
All right, here we go. Safety car, the Acura NSX, into the pits. And Smithson leading him up the hill. Scott Smithson, who was so wickedly quick. He'll pick up the green, but Lewis coming right with him in the Alfa Giulietta. MAXSON immediately under attack from Victor Gonzalez here. Victor down to the inside. Lewis to the inside of SMITHSON, side by side down into turn 1. SMITHSON wanted to fight him and then thought better of it. Lets Lewis go. Gonzalez through on MAXSON.
Yeah, MAXSON's just got no power. He's just standing still when they go to the gas pedal, it seems, climbing that hill. Car's working well through the corners still, but he's going to struggle here today to get that 10th consecutive victory, I feel.
Yeah, he's going to have to just flow immense amounts of speed. But what a restart by Lewis.
Yeah, he timed that perfectly. So SMITHSON's got to regroup here a little bit. He knows he's got a super fast race car. Gonzalez putting the pressure on, flashing the lights as they plow down the hill into the brake zone for 5. Very deep on the brakes by SMITHSON. Gets it well down. Still hits the apex, so it just looked like he was able to brake a little bit later than Lewis Jr. was. Gonzalez had a win here last year at Road America, putting the pressure on. MAXSON being left in their dust a little bit.
Yeah, Gonzalez, it was an up and down weekend for him last year. In the first race, had a little bit of a moment in the wet in Canada Corner, and the car stepped out on him and then came in and tapped the wall, but they got it fixed. He went back out in the next races and was able to win that one. Looks like Pombo has returned from the paddock area. Right now, Gonzalez heaping a huge amount of pressure onto the back of that Quello entry of SMITHSON. Gonzalez in that SRO Motorsports machine. Then there's Max and then CJ Moses.
Moses having a nice run here as we then focus on the touring car leaders led by Grahovic.
Clay up into second. Here we go.
Lewis Jr. is really vulnerable into these brake zones. Just seems like the Hondas can brake much later than the Alpha.
And Lewis running for the KMW Motorsports with TMR Engineering team. Lot of talent, lots of categories in that TMR and KMW program.
Lots of experience there. Things settling in here, but look at MAXSON. He's heading for pit lane. That streak is over.
Yeah, something has gone awry. This is going to be a great battle again. SMITHSON down to the inside.
It's in no man's land there. You've got to be more decisive with that move, and that allows Gonzalez to swing around the outside.
He just rolled some immense speed. If he keeps SMITHSON pinned there, he does. That's going to really slow down SMITHSON's exit.
I think they peeled the paint off the front bumper then when he got to the apex.
Meanwhile, Tyler MAXSON just trundling slowly down pit lane. He's got some serious issues. We get back to this battle. One thing we know about Victor in that sort of lime and white SRO Motorsports entry is he is a master of tire management. This track has a bit of degradation in it. Let's see what he's going to do. Looking at that TCA battle right now, Kevin Boehm continues to lead over Mejia. Newcomb now up into third.
It's a good day for the Hondas. Yeah, they look strong here.
They do.
Cars are well suited, and we expected Kevin Boehm to come on strong. Had a few technical issues they had to fight their way through early in the season, typically around the coolant system on the race car, and they seem to go on top of that a little bit. And very cool weekend here up here in Road America, so certainly will aid any issues that they may still have lingering there. But just has such a pedigree and good racing background, you know it was just a matter of time before he scored that first victory.
Indeed. Clay Williams there in that yellow Mini hounding Newcomb, and a frustrated Tyler MAXSON out of the car.
He's not a happy camper. This racing, though, as a young man, he's going to learn there's good and bad days. He's had 9 good ones so far this year, and this is the first bad one he's had.
Here's TC. Look at the commitment these guys flow through these corners. They're having a look in that left front corner. Oh, look at that.
It's not power related, it's suspension related.
Yeah. So Clay, Grahovic in the 26 there. And a very impressive young man in Bryson Lewis.
Yeah, he really has come onto the stage with a lot of spotlight on him, and he is performing really well. So Clay has got the lead around Grahovic. Grahovic's car looked a little bit stronger in the later stages yesterday in terms of the balance of the car, looked a little bit stronger. Let's see if he can respond here and get the lead back.
All right, watching this battle here. See if Grahovic gets any kind of a toe down into turn 1. He gets a run. Clay just positions that Bimmerworld BMW right dead center of the track, and Grahovic decides to tuck back in. While we're watching this battle, let's find out what's up with Tyler MAXSON.
It was a left shock that failed, unfortunately, for Tyler MAXSON, so he is out of the car, as you guys saw, and his day is done. He's still processing that, I think, as we speak. Shortly before that, Olivia Askew was walking down pit lane, and I had a chance to speak with her briefly. She said that she thought simply being on the dirty line is what caused the back of that car to snap around. She said that there was some significant axle damage to that car, but they don't believe anything got to the tub. They think that it should be repairable. So they're taking a look at that now, and the hope is to be back out for race 3 of the weekend tomorrow. All
right, thanks, Ryan. Yeah, that's good to hear. And while you were talking, Victor Gonzalez has gone to the overall lead, and in TCR, in that SRO Motorsports Civic Type R, with a pretty move around the outside of Lewis Jr.
Yeah, it really was, and he's got his head down, and you can kind of tell from the language of the race car that he is dialed in, hooked up, and he's got intentions of grabbing that first win. I'm sure people will look at the result and say, well, yeah, MAXSON retired, but he's got pace here today.
Look at this move here. It all started with this dive down to the inside.
Well, Lewis has always looked vulnerable here in these early laps in the brake zones, and Victor gets the job done. Lewis tries to come back up at him, but he ultimately made it stick around the outside in turn 6.
He's quickly opened up a little bit of a margin, and Lewis is trying to do the same to SMITHSON.
SMITHSON can just get in a rhythm. Car has shown tremendous pace here this weekend, but again, it's a big learning curve for these drivers who don't have the experience. Gonzalez now has that experience. A couple of wins last year, for win number 1 on the 2020 season.
I think in the background, I just saw Tyler Gonzalez in the pits, points leader in TCA.
Rough day for Copeland.
Oh, boy. Gonzalez through the turn.
Grahovic, big run on Clay.
Oh, yes.
Up the hill. Clay just takes it to the inside, tries to make him go the long way around. So he just gives up the entry a little bit now, just try and get back on power early, tuck it to the inside on the run down to turn 3. Can't give up too much time though, because Lou is right there.
Well, Clay alluded to it in his interview after the race yesterday. He said Toby knows this track. He may be a Texas boy now, but this was home for him, and he's does thousands of laps here. And he was one of the top guys in SCCA national competition on the amateur level. And that's a good group of drivers, and he is hounding James Clay right now.
Looks to the inside, almost in the grass there. What can Lou do from the outside? Gives up a bit too much to really think about a move up the hill to turn 6.
Then it's Hull, and then Schwartz, who's fought his way back from 8th to 5th.
Locke making his way through there on his recovery drive aboard the Black Alpha and TCR.
There is Tyler Gonzalez, hood up. Working, looks like on the right front corner, maybe on that one.
And this TCA championship is certainly getting turned upside down here this weekend with a lot of the front runners, Pombo and Gonzalez, having major issues in both races. Could give Mejia the chance to climb up the board a little bit.
And looking at TCA, Gronke got through on Bacon. He now sits 5th, and he just turned his best lap at 2:34.9, and that is the better part of a second and a half faster than everybody in front of him right now.
And I tell you what, the sort of weekend that Kevin Bowen's putting together, don't count him out in the championship. Came into this round 4th in the points, a long way back, but with the struggles when other front runners are having 0 point scores and you're getting the big wins with 25 points at a time. Could be a big swing here this weekend. Newcomb here. Beautiful section of the racetrack here. Should be pretty much wide open in these TCA cars. They don't really get the quick acceleration off of the carousel like some of the other classes here, so it makes the corner a little bit easier. Gronke here looking for a way through.
Yep, PJ is closing up here. This is a great run once again. Let's check into the pits, Ryan.
Tyler Gonzalez, you guys talked about it, sitting in his race car right now, and it looks like he's unfastening his belts, which is certainly unfortunate for a guy who's really been impressive all season long from this Copeland Motorsports team. Had problems with electrical gremlins yesterday. That appears to be the culprit once again today, although I'm told they are different electronic issues than they dealt with yesterday. In fact, they thought they did have the ones from yesterday resolved. Everything worked well when they were testing all the systems earlier today, but all of a sudden when the race got going, something new popped up, and they're going to work trying to get to the bottom of what that might be.
Wow, tough day, as you said, Cal, for the Copeland crew. Thanks, Ryan. And PJ Gronke has just gone through on Newcomb, and that is now, he got Bacon, and now he's that should put him in third.
He's on a run here, so
Sure
Bohm
is.
here a long way down the road, but he's still got 17 minutes to work with.
And that's Clay. Oh boy, Clay Williams struggling here. So he was in the pits and is coming back out.
We've seen more technical issues here this weekend than I think if you put all of the other rounds together across the various classes. Quite remarkable.
No, I'm not so sure if he was in the pits or he was coming up the front straight and had this problem and just moved way to the right. But Clay Williams, who's been so impressive,
He's still not up to speed. So
he's got something to miss. So TCA, it's Boehm leading by about 2 seconds to Mejia. Gronke is now third. We'll see what's happening there. Ooh, wide exit. That's going to give Chandler Hull a run.
yeah,
He's through on Lou.
Yeah, Lou was really wide through Canada there, really struggling to hang on to the cars. Grahovic continues to pressure James Clay for the lead.
Now right behind Lou is in fifth is Johann Schwartz.
Big recovery drive for Johan after the off in turn 6 early.
And Johann, he's chasing Lou, who's the guy he took some evasive on. Thought he was, so he would like to clear him fairly quickly. Is he going to try and just ramp the outside here?
I think he maybe try to set him up and try and get the run down the hill into turn 3. Look, and he sets back and tries to roll through the apex right now. There he goes.
And then Lou comes all the way over. So Johann pops to the outside. Now he's going to try and do the same thing, get the run out of 3. He may have done it. See if he gets any kind of help here. It's amazing to me that all the drivers say that these cars just don't draft that well with each other.
You can see it. They just kind of sit there and they seem to get zero effect from it, which is quite remarkable. I've never really seen cars do that on these long straightaways where you don't punch the hole in the air and give the advantage to the following car. Side by side up the hill. It's pretty close for comfort.
It sure is.
He doesn't want to give it up, so Johann's having to work the young man over to get that position back.
He just keeps leaning on Johann.
That was more a question of Johann leaning on Lou.
You think so? Well, they're leaning on each other.
Yeah.
For a couple of corners there, for sure. Johann now through with some paint scuffs, but I doubt anything more intense on the sides of the cars. Now the question is, what does Johann have to catch Chandler Hull for third?
You were right, actually. I had the cars back to front there on the run between 6 and 7. It was Lou trying to squeeze back down with Johann there.
There he is.
It's like Lou's handling has just gone away a little bit. He's looking a bit lurid here through a couple of corners. But meanwhile, Grahovic's car that looks super strong all weekend long. I think it's just James Clay grit and determination that's got him the win yesterday and holding on to the lead right now. I think Toby's got a really strong car here to do something with in these final 14 minutes of the race.
Up front, Gonzalez has about 3 seconds in hand over Smithson, who's got almost 2 over Lewis. And in TCA, Bo Mejia and Gronke. And then Newcomb. So right now, this is battle for the lead in TC and one of the best battles on the track. And right there, Toby rolls up on him, doesn't he?
He does, but nowhere to go with it.
Yeah.
Just needs to try and set it up like Johan did. So he's just a little bit too close.
He's going to try the outside here.
Yeah, I'm not sure you can make it work from there. He's working him over. Oh, he's in good position. You know James going to stuff it in there.
The intent is to try and pitch the guy's exit and have him lose his speed, right?
Good respect there. Gave each other just enough racing room. So, yeah, Toby tried the outside line. Almost made it work all the way down to turn 3. Feel if he could get the track position, he might be able to take off a little bit. I mean, he's not going to romp away, but I think he's got maybe 2 or 3 tenths over James in terms of lap time available to him.
And that's Hull. And closing on Hull fairly quickly is Schwartz.
Yeah, he's on the charge.
I was going to say, this kind of threw the tire management theory out the window for him, didn't it, having that moment?
Point in finishing 4th or 5th and saying I got good tires left.
Exactly.
Turn 8, critical corner. Then the road just falls away from you. I found when I first came to Road America, this corner was the most difficult to really get your arms wrapped around in terms of when you could commit to the power and just lean on the car through that long duration corner. Look at the gap.
Yeah, he just set fast lap. Wow. Gonzalez did on that lap. He's flying.
He really is. The lead that young MAXSON has in the championship is pretty much insurmountable. We actually talked about yesterday if he did the same thing that he did yesterday in terms of gap in the competition or in all 3 races, he could potentially even clinch the championship here this weekend. That is not going to happen now.
Gonzalez, that fast lap was quicker, well, just 5 1/1000ths off of the pole time that SMITHSON set for today's race. So Gonzalez is flying. There is SMITHSON, still sitting second, but now the better part of 3.5 seconds behind Gonzalez. He's got 2 seconds back to Lewis.
SMITHSON's got pace, and we talk about that fast lap by Gonzalez Jr., but it's only 500s quicker than SMITHSON's best on the day. So it just seems like Gonzalez has just raced a little bit better than Scott SMITHSON here, but that's understandable. Scott getting to grips with his TCR machine, but certainly displaying great potential here this weekend with his pace.
Yes.
And he'll be learning a lot here as these rounds click off throughout the championship season.
And then Lewis Jr. It's been a great addition to the series. Really quick.
I say every week, but I just love the body style on that Alpha. It's just so sculpted.
Yeah, it truly is.
It's Italian.
Yes, it's Italian art, isn't it? And then the coloring on it, that is that rich burgundy of Alfa Romeo fame. They've really done that well. They just went by the number 33 of Forbush and the 24 of Damon Sarkisian. Again, I see Damon down. He is also Canadian-based. He's a filmmaker that does a lot of. Oh, Gonzalez suddenly slowing.
Big time.
Something's wrong.
He's got a flat tire, maybe?
I don't know.
If the left front was down.
I heard a really loud pop. Oh, it's something. Yes, it is.
Oh boy, more drama here. The team is ready to do. I mean, fortunately, it's late in the lap, so he can get in here pretty quickly. But I mean, you really abuse the curbs around this racetrack. We certainly saw MAXSON with the broken shock, and this has now given SMITHSON the lead. So major drama here as Gonzalez looking for his first victory. That's not going to happen now.
And he was flying too. I mean, he
just laid fastest lap of the race, and then suddenly pops the left front.
In TC, Clay Grahovic, that battle remains really stout, but Schwartz now all over the back of Chandler Hull for the final podium spot.
Nice look at it in the brake zone for Canada corner. It's already down.
Yeah.
See the smoke there, and here comes SMITHSON. He's going to assume the lead here as he searches for his first pro win.
If that happened at the exit curb at the kink, you get on that pretty good. The crew,
they're ready.
They're ready, but boy.
Great little group here. Busy at times amongst that CGMC trailer these days compared to last year. If there's any suspension damage as well, or whether this is just strictly a flat left.
And back in TCA, Kevin Boehm going for his second in a row.
2.5 second lead over Thomas Mejia. We talk about the struggles for Gonzalez and Pombo. Going to be a big point swing here this weekend if Kevin Boehm can continue to perform like he's doing, going for his second straight victory here this weekend. And the Hondas just look really well suited to this circuit, Greg. See Gronke on the march a little bit, catching Mejia.
Well, I think it's twofold. I think this track for a front drive car, which the minis are as well, but you've got long straights when these fronts can cool a little bit and everything, but it also has a longer wheelbase than some of these other cars. And that through these long duration corners, that's high-speed stability stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, certainly. It's longer wheelbase, makes it a little bit less twitchy through the long duration corners, which are a ton off here. Even turn 3, you look at it, just a quick 90-degree corner, but you're in the corner and loaded for a long, long time.
Here's a look at Gronke as he is giving chase in Mejia. And you take a look at the side of Gronke's car, there's not one spot that doesn't have some sort of a decal from one of his litany of sponsors. I've said it many times, he funds his racing in his local community in lots of small donations, not a couple of big ones, and you can see that car just covered.
It's X times X, right? As long as one of the X's is a big number, you're okay.
Exactly. And I'll tell you, he has a great relationship with all those sponsors and really looks after them with reports and updates.
Hopefully one of his sponsors makes decals.
That's a very good point, because he's going to get the most exposure. All right, well, he's closing on Mejia. This isn't done yet. He made up in that last lap, Cal, a second on Mejia. Oh boy, look at these two battles here.
Is it me or is Hull and Schwartz catching this?
It almost looks like they might be a little bit here.
They look a little bit closer, don't they?
Yeah, they ran 3-4 tenths quicker. And again, Toby going around the outside. He's got a little bit more of a nose ahead this time.
James just making him go the long way around and making him really work for it. It's just really feisty determination by James Clay. I just don't think his car is as good as Grahovic's here this weekend, but he's hanging on once again, leading his second race of the weekend.
Well, the interesting thing here is when Schwartz got around Lou, he drove away from him, ran down Hull, and Lou now has come right back and is right with them.
Grahovic can see those other BMWs looming ever larger in his mirror. This is really getting tight between the top 5 here.
Well, I think this kind of stuff, this is slowing those two guys up front down.
For sure.
You know, Clay drifting over to the middle, and
Schwartz has got to make a decision here. Does he want to try and make that move on Hull immediately, or just let him close into the leaders too? Side by side down into the brake zone for turn 8.
Johan looked to the inside of Hull, but was too far back.
Grahovic's car just looks superb all weekend long.
It sure does.
Toby's, he's got to the inside in the dirt there through the carousel as Clay swings wide there, couldn't keep the car tight. And that gives Hull a bit of a run. Sure that Toby had to get out of it a little bit when he started dropping those right sides in the grass through the carousel.
Well, he's been there before, so he got the lead at VIR. A couple of tires in the grass.
Wow.
5 cars battle for the lead in the final 5 minutes here. And again, for these guys, this is their 9th round of the championship. For TCA and TCR, it's round 10.
We got 3 laps left.
Yeah.
Two and a bit.
I hope so, because this is great.
Yeah, it really is.
I'll tell you, Lewis Jr. up front is close to within a second of Smithson.
Wow.
So that's
a
not done
different
yet.
ball game. Sure.
Yeah, Gronke right now is 3/10 off of Mejia for second.
Battles everywhere.
Oh, this is
throughout
fabulous.
this race. Oh, he's just got to figure out a solution to this puzzle that James Clay is creating for him. And Clay just will not give it up. You know, he gets side by side. You got to finish him off, otherwise he's going to keep coming back at you. It's just the way he races.
This is exactly what we saw from those two guys yesterday. The different dynamic here is now 3 more BMWs behind him. That one of them has a bobble, tries a move that doesn't work.
Well, it's making it a little bit more difficult for Toby.
Yes.
As we saw when he had to lift momentarily through the carousel, suddenly the rest of the pack was all over him. Schwartz. I think he's going to get pretty feisty here. Time is running out. He needs to get on the podium. He can't afford James Clay to gain more points than he's already building here today.
Well, and here's just something to throw into the mix. Keep in mind, Chandler Hull in that TAC Energy car, that's a Bimmer World car, as is leader Clay.
Right.
And he knows, they know where the points are and what's going on here.
It's not going to make it easy, that's for sure.
Absolutely. Boy, and that group loses a little ground to the carousel, doesn't it? Boy, Toby's there.
He is. He is right there. And I just feel if he could get the track position here this weekend, he could probably disappear from everyone.
Mm-hmm.
That's after classic
Clay knows it
BMW
too.
for getting the setup spot on for Toby. And Toby's love and life at his, essentially his home circuit. I know he's based in Texas now, but I think you mentioned yesterday, Greg, came to this race circuit at the age of 4 with his dad racing here and just fell in love with the place.
Yep, and has raced here so many times. Oh, and off for Gronke.
Is he making a move for position there on Mejia, possibly?
I bet he was. Oh, he's going to lose a spot to Newcomb.
Just one
Here
now.
it is.
Late on the brakes. Whoa!
Really late on the brakes.
So he's dropped to 4th position. Questioning what might have been here today. Just that poor start really hurt PJ.
Yeah, it did. That was Ruben Iglesias. He's had an issue here, and he's down a lap. So PJ back at it. Here's this group. Wow. Up front, Smithson has opened up a half second again on Lewis. It's a 2.5 seconds now.
And these guys got a lot of racing on the board. I mean, the clock basically works off the overall leader. He's just coming on the front straightaway, so they're going to get one more look at this battle down into the brake zone.
Toby went for a move. Clay went over to the left side with him, and Chandler Hull thought I could maybe go around the outside here. Here we go. White flag flies for Smithson. There's Lewis. That's the battle for the overall lead and TCR. And that lap alone, Smithson found a little bit more speed. Cal, the margin's up to 2 seconds, so back to this great scrum.
Yeah, it's going to be a lap and a half of this battle to continue with, because I don't think the TCR lead is going to catch this group before the stripe. So they'll see their white flag next time by. Clay now having to deal with a little bit of TCA traffic. That can be problematic through this high-speed section. If he has to lift at all, someone may get a run.
Yeah, that's Matt Forbush. And everybody's going to try and squeeze through. This is sketchy stuff in the kink. And there's apparently, we may have a caution flag, just a corner yellow, but it means you can't pass into the corner here. This is Canada corner, turn 12. See,
it's clean now.
Why, yeah. And they're coming up in the back of Damon Scherzen, and oh, that's really Park Clay.
Grahovic knew where to go with it, and Chandler Hull looks to the inside of Grahovic. That was really tight there on the approach to turn 14.
And Schwartz, I think, might get the run out of this.
Well, you can't punch a bigger hole in the air than what you're seeing up in front of Johann Schwartz right now. Can he do anything with it? Looks to the inside. He's got a run on Hull.
That's Hull. That's actually Grahovic. Hull went through on Grahovic. And now Schwartz trying to get down to the inside of Toby as well, down into turn 1.
A little bit of bodywork damage on the right side of Johann Schwartz's car. Something's flapping around in the breeze there.
I think that was that little bit of rubbing with Lou. So, wow, what a change for Grahovic. 2nd to 4th. All because of that bit of traffic. And, you know, for Forbush and Surshizin, they can't just disappear. And Damon had run down and passed Forbush. So what a great run for that Canadian driver to take a top 5 at this stage of the race.
Chandler Hull putting the pressure on the team leader here as they hit the brake zone for turn 5.
There we go. This is it. Smithson's going to get his first pro win in his first pro season. That's impressive. In TCR over Lewis Jr. CJ Moses should be 3rd. Back to this battle. Boehm has 8 seconds over Mejia, then Newcomb.
Well, I was going to say the good news for James Clay is that it's a Bimmer World car behind him now, but that doesn't seem to affect Chandler Hull's intention of wanting the lead.
Here comes Kevin Boehm, 2nd win in a row.
Big points day for that team, that's for sure.
There's Olivia Askew, who had to park her car, so she's cheering on everybody else. Great run for Boehm. Mejia, Newcomb would be your top 3 in that.
Clay's got the biggest lead he's had the whole race here with just a couple of corners to go. Should hang on for his 2nd victory of the weekend.
Let's see what Schwartz can do here on Hull, if anything. He's trying. And Grahovic sitting there in I'm sure, an immensely frustrated 4th.
Oh boy, he had visions of winning this race, and now he may not even see the podium.
I think what's going to happen in turn 14 here, this is going to be huge. Grahovic needs a magic run and then out-drag Hull up the hill. And I think Chandler got out of there just well enough. He's playing perfect wingman to his teammate. Here we go. What a battle in touring car. And it's Clay winning over teammate Hull, with Schwartz completing the podium. Grahovic, I'm sure, a stunned 4th.
Bimmer World 1-2. Big day for that team.
Absolutely. Then Bryson Liu sitting in 5th.
Clay built another 10-point swing on Johann Schwartz, who coming into this weekend 7 points behind. He now has a 13-point lead.
PJ Gronke, he's got something going on. I think the brakes in that car. Oh. Yeah, there was so much going on in this touring car battle. That was after his off in 5. That happened a lap after that, apparently down in Canada. So he obviously had some sort of an issue with that car. That was when he was sitting still in 3rd. So
it's a scary moment when you go to the middle pedal down into Canada and no one's home.
Yeah, I experienced it once in an ITA race. Not fun. Wow, what a battle these 5 put on in touring car.
Fabulous stuff, and some big surprises there. I mean, Toby Grahovic, I thought he was going to win this race, and suddenly he doesn't find himself even on a step of the podium. And Johann Schwartz, he's got to dust himself off. Clay is scoring some big points here this weekend.
I tell you, Schwartz came after that off in 6. He dropped to 8th, and he came back to 3rd. So, I mean, he did everything he possibly could.
Yeah, the going gets a little bit tougher, though, when you get to the sharp end.
And for this guy, he must be just as crushed as can be. The CrowdStrike fastest lap going to Victor Gonzalez at 2:21.2. And he had gone to the front, was on his way to what certainly looked like it could be a very strong win. And in the end, he had to pit and change that tire.
Finishes
but at least
4th.
He'll start on pole tomorrow.
Yeah, alongside Smithson, who was only just a tick off of him. So I think Smithson still has potential to get another win here tomorrow. It's going to be a fascinating battle. And let's see if Tyler Maxson can rebound and get the technical issues sorted on his Hyundai. They had the suspension issue, but he's got a power issue here this weekend as well.
Here's a look at the results. Again, white on black for the number. That's your TCR category. Black on white is TC, and white on gray is TCA. And a great run by Jonathan Newcomb with that podium finish. Mejia carrying the colors for Mini. A lot going on in that race. You can see Victor Gonzalez. Yes, you're correct. He'll get those fourth place points, but he had the potential for so much more here. And you take a look at some of the other cars and competitors that had some issues here. And tell you the real shame, I mean, for all of them, obviously, Joey Jordan, we didn't get a chance to really talk about too much, and that development for that Mazda 3, the turnkey version of a TC car that Mazda's putting together with the help of Cork Sport. And they're continuing to work on that. But you know, for Olivia Askew, I think she would have been right up in that scrum for the top 3 as well. So that's going to be problematic. Let's take a look at highlights here from this 10th round of the championship, 9th for TC in the 3 classes. And this was just a portent for the touring cars of what we were going to see at the finish.
A fabulous battle right now. We see our eventual winner, James Clay, down in the 4th position as they head down towards turn 3 on the opening lap.
And here's the moment for Olivia Askew, who's looking very racy. Back end just stepped out, and nowhere for CJ Moses to go. CJ was able to continue, but Olivia was done. And then right there, that's where Johan had to take evasive and a brilliant save.
It really was, and then he had to fight his way back through the field to a podium run. Up front, great battle here between Smithson and Tim Lewis Jr. Gets to the inside, grabs the lead momentarily.
But it was that lime green and white car that was on the move, got the second, got the lead. He started the move for the lead right here. Lewis countered it beautifully, got down to the inside, but Victor stayed with him around the outside, then started to drive away, then cut a tire, we think maybe on the exit curve at the kink, and then this big moment for PJ Gronke after running a little issue down into turn 5. But in the end, Smithson gets the overall win in TCR. Kevin Boehm getting his 2nd straight in TCA, and at the line, an incredible battle going the way of James Clay in touring car in the BMW team.
That was a wild one. Just great battles for every class win. Some technical issues. Some are our championship favorites. A lot to digest there as everyone takes a breather and maybe grabs a brat.
I was going to say, speaking of digest, tell you they have one of the magic meals here at this very stand. Actually, it's the brat egger.
There you go.
For breakfast, baby.
Yeah.
Breakfast of wannabe champion.
A week's calories in one meal.
Boom, boom, all at once. Get her done. But boy, is it tasty stuff. Brats and corn on the cob and kraut, and it's just good stuff here at Road America. Look at that. A lot of people down there very happy. A lot very frustrated, to be sure. But what a run. Boy, that was just a fun one to call. When I looked up, yeah, these are 40-minute races. When I looked up and saw the clock was at like 12 minutes, I couldn't believe it. It was so entertaining, it just flew by.
Yeah, and then we see Jim Jordan walking down pit lane with a lot of happy clients. He's the series manager for the touring car classes, so he does a tremendous job.
He does.
Enthusiastic and really understands the business.
Yeah, he does it well, no question about that. Wow, what a story here we saw today. What a race. And getting ready, of course, for our interviews in Victory Circle with Ryan Marine. Some looks. It's so nice to have shots around around a racetrack with some fans in it.
It is.
As well, that's nice. And this is just an amazing place. Give us an opportunity to give a big shout out. You see that little portico, if you will, down there, that little hut. Well, that's where the corner marshals, the flaggers, most of them from Sports Car Club of America, spend their days here, and they're all volunteers for the most part, especially if they work with SCCA and the Sports Car Club, and pay their own way to a lot of this stuff. They get a meal during the day and a party at night, but and they are every much as enthusiastic and committed to racing as anybody behind the wheel or in these teams. And you can't have a weekend without the eyes and ears of race control out and around the racetrack. So, and after what they put up with yesterday morning, they have earned this beautiful afternoon here at Road America.
It was miserable here yesterday, just coming down in buckets. So hopefully they got dried out and fresh overalls on for today.
Absolutely. This is a great piece of the racetrack. This is the turn 3, and you get down inside there, and it's just a beautiful spot to enjoy some racing here as the field making their way down pit lane and heading over. You can see in the upper right there, that's the victory circle area at Road America, and everybody, the winners, working their way over to that. And the nice thing, we say it a lot, but with this 3 format weekend, you don't want to miss races early in the year and have to make them up. But on the bright side, you get 3 shots at races like this in one weekend. There is a silver lining. There
is, and just as you look at that picture right there, you can see a lot of new buildings, and the circuit and the management continues to invest in this classic circuit, and it's first class in every way.
Yeah, it truly is. So here is a look at the TCR category with SMITHSON getting that first win. And until this year, he'd done nothing but club racing and the like. And but we saw some signs of his speed earlier in the year, and it's come to fruition here. Tim Lewis Jr., pretty experienced driver and doing a great job in this one. CJ Moses, you see the time gap there, but after that hit, you have to believe that car wasn't quite right. Obviously, Gonzalez, with that stop, drops to 4th. He will start on pole tomorrow, then blocked with those issues. MAXSON, that was a shock issue, right, early in this,
yep.
And then Olivia Askew with that incident very early on in the race. But had all of these guys not had some sort of an issue other than those 2 up front, I think there's potential for this class to be a real barn burner tomorrow.
Yeah, I think tomorrow's race could be even more special. So see if Tyler Maxson's group with Copeland Motorsports can rebound. They'll get the shock fixed for sure. It's really a question what's going on with the power of that machine this weekend.
Let's wrap it up. 20 seconds. All right, so well, that's going to wrap up our coverage here of the TC America second race of the weekend, the 10th round for TCR and TCA, round 9 for TC. Thank you so much for joining us, and we look forward to having you back with us when they do it all over again tomorrow.